What's up, man? I've been wanting to do this video for a very long time, and it's called Black in Ecuador. I'm gonna show you a few of the videos from when I was there. As you can see that I'm approaching the border, there are stray dogs right there. I will zoom in and you will clearly see the Ecuador sign. Over to the right, there is a natural landscape that was completely breathtaking. It engulfed my entire spirit, so I had to record it, and you see a lot of this in Ecuador. It's just a naturally beautiful country. In this clip, I'm approaching closer to the border, so you can clearly see the sign right there above. And in this clip, I'm actually on the bus from Tucson to Quito, which only costs $5. And since Ecuador uses the US dollar system, the prices are easy to navigate. Another thing is that gas prices are extremely cheap in Ecuador, as you will see in the signs right here. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there before I continue with the main part of the video. I'm here to tell you some of my experiences on the road in Ecuador. Now, first and foremost, I want to say that Ecuador was a cool country. If you're black, if you're white, whoever, I suggest that you visit Ecuador because it's real cool down there. When I actually arrived or decided to go to Ecuador because of a black female who coincidentally lived in the same neighborhood as I did. I met in Cartagena, Colombia. I was telling her like, yeah, man, I want to go to Venezuela because I got a little hotel voucher at one of the hotels on the tourist island. She was like, yeah, I'm going to Venezuela because everybody who she talked to didn't like Venezuela at all. She suggested that I go to Ecuador because she said she loved Ecuador. And I was like, okay, I'll go to Ecuador. So when I took the bus through Colombia, and eventually I come up to the Ecuadorian border. Now in Colombia, you see a lot of black people, and when I was on the bus getting ready to cross, no, the guy dropped me off. No, when I was on the bus approaching the border town, people could tell, or people thought I was Colombian. When I started speaking English, they were surprised, like, oh, he's American. They tried to talk to me in Spanish, I understand or whatever. So it was like a newfound respect. It was a different vibe. So when I actually crossed the border, it was actually in a cab. The cab, he had to drive me a few miles to the actual border line. And we passed up the immigration center because I'm assuming he thought I was Colombian, even though I was speaking English. And I saw the Ecuadorian border guards right there. They was kind of like looking at me or whatever. And I asked him like, man, where the immigration center at? He was like, oh, no, we passed it. So he went back to the Colombian immigration center. I got my exit stamp, and I proceeded to enter Ecuador. Now the border guards there, they automatically roll up on me. It seemed like they thought I was Colombian. A lot of, from what I understand, Colombians be low key smuggling drugs to Ecuador and whatever. So they kind of roll up on me. Gotta get my backpack, started looking through it, and then they looked through my passport. And they was like, "Oh, Mexico, you been to Mexico?" I was like, "Yeah." But it wasn't nothing too grimy, so it was all good. Um, so on that Ecuadorian border, and you see everybody there. You see black folks. You see kind of everybody at the Ecuadorian border, kind of just hanging out where the buses are, and the buses are basically white vans. Now, when you get to that Ecuadorian border, some of those drivers are gonna tell you, "Hey, man, we go to Quito for $75. Don't take that deal. Tell them you want to go to that border town. It's a border town a couple of miles from the actual border where you can get a bus to go to Quito." Okay? Ask them to take you there because it will only cost you like a few dollars or $1 or so to get there. So, and the buses are real cheap. It only was like $5 to get from that border town to Quito. So it was extremely cheap. And it's like a old school bus. and we only had one checkpoint from what I remember. The Ecuadorian border guards that came on, they checked me. It wasn't like Mexico. In Mexico, they all up in your business, but in Ecuador, they kind of checked me. They well, no, they didn't check me, but they checked my passport. They checked everybody IDs on the bus. I guess it's protocol. And after he just looked at my passport, he was like, "Thank you." And everybody else, he was like, "Gracias," but when he saw my passport, he was like, "Thank you." So, and he looked at me like I was just a regular person. It wasn't no thing. And also, you have people who come on a bus selling stuff, and the stuff is real cheap because, in Ecuador they use the U.S. dollar, and when you come up to the border, there's money changers on the outside, and they normally carry those dollar coins. We don't really use them here like that, but in Ecuador they use them heavy. So you don't have to worry about all the conversion and whatever. Like in other countries. In Ecuador is real simple. Dealing with the money. But anyway, so eventually, I end up in Quito, and everybody speaks Spanish. You got to learn Spanish, that's for sure. And at the bus station, I was telling them like, "Hey, I want to go to Loja. I want to go to Loja. That's like in the northwestern portion of the country, like kind of in the mountains." And basically, I had to get on another bus that took me to another bus station. And this bus station was like balling, man. It was clean. You got like a bunch of bus counters. It looked sort of like an airport, It looked like an airport, man. And it was clean. It was cool. I went downstairs to get something to eat. That was cool. You kind of just see people mingling around inside the eating area. I think it's like a mall, and there was helpful people letting me know, okay, this is where you go, and this is where you go, and whatever. People was cool. I'm allergic to shrimp, and the lady didn't understand that I didn't want any shrimp with my rice. She put shrimp in it anyway, and I was hungry as hell, so I decided to eat it, but I threw the shrimp away. But it still had the shrimp essence on it, so it made me extremely sick because I'm allergic. And I was tweaking out on the bus, and the guy sitting next to me, he was all nervous and whatever because I was just tweaking out. I was half sleep, half woke, and it was just horrible. And the buses down there give you assigned seating, so once you in a seat, you have to stay there. You know, and waiting on the bus, it was real easy to navigate everything, and it was no problem. When I got to Loja, Ecuador, I booked a little hotel. Had the cab driver drive me to a place, and everybody was just cool and nice. I like Ecuador a lot, man. I like Ecuador a lot. My favorite part of Ecuador is in the mountains. When you're approaching the Peruvian border, you got to go through a series of mountains where the bus just go ride around these mountains, man. And I just sat on the bus, and it was just lovely, man. The fresh, clean air in the mountains, and you just driving on the bus, and the windows are down. It's like a school bus. Windows are down, blowing in your face, man. It's just experience. You just see the mountains, the rolling mountains, and the meadows in the back. You might see one or two people washing their clothes in the river. But it was definitely an experience. You see black people sprinkled out through Ecuador. You know, they seem like they was just normal people. I seen like a black dude, like a young black dude. They was working on a corner selling food in one of the towns. So yeah, man. If you go to Ecuador, man, try to go in the area where Loja is. That area is pretty cool, pretty cool. But I did hear a big bang. Don't know what that was about when we rolled up into the town. Yeah, but this video is not as extensive as my other videos because nothing bad happened in Ecuador. Ecuador is all good. Oh, another thing I forgot. Was approaching this town, and I accidentally left my bag on the bus. Okay. Now, I got off the bus to use the washroom. When I came out, the bus left. I was like, wow, really? So I went to the security area. Now the security was kind of on edge because you could tell that they never seen a black dude before, and the security was mostly speaking in Spanish. And he was telling me, man, we don't speak Spanish, we don't speak English, man. Calm down. I'm like, okay, man, my fault. But it wasn't really, too conflict or nothing like that. I got a message. So after the bus came back eventually, I got on the bus and my bag was on the bus. And it was interesting though because the security area had videos where they can rewind the digital tape, and I could see myself getting on the bus. Well, no, I could see myself getting off the bus. And it's kind of interesting, like, here where I live and whatever, they got all these police cameras all around, but when something happens, coincidentally, they don't see nothing. Me personally, I think it's because they don't want to see nothing. Because in Ecuador, which is supposed to be a quote unquote third world country, they got digital security footage that can rewind it, digitally to whatever spot they put it on. But coincidentally, up here, when crimes happen under those cameras, you don't see nothing. So I just thought that was an interesting ordeal. But yeah, so I told the security guard like, "Yo, loco." I was trying to say I'm loco. I was mispronouncing words. But people understood that I was just an American, you know. So yeah, but Ecuador was cool. Nothing bad happened. You know, not really any energies. Now when I tried to hop in the cab, that cab driver was like, "No, no, 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 no." He was like, "No, don't get in here," and I had to get out. So I don't know what that was about. Maybe it was that specific town, but yeah, Ecuador was cool for the most part. And would I return? Yeah, I would. Thought about going down there again. So Ecuador in a nutshell.